All right. Okay, so we could hear, I could see, and everything's great. All right. Again, thanks everyone. My name is David Nguyen, wholesaler with National Life Group, and I am here to talk about our products and services. So National Life Group's been basically in business for 175 years. Today, we're celebrating our 175. We're still a mutual company, which means that we are not dictated by shareholders. Our shareholders basically are our policy holders. And real quick, I'm just going to run you through just a little bit of a history and then about our products, our living benefits, our lifetime income, and some of the technology that we've been investing in. So let's go and take a look and a deeper dive. So our company is basically focused on serving middle America. We're really looking at servicing those who are less privileged. If we're going to look at some of our product design, I'll probably be focusing more on some of our Flex Life IUL. And real quickly, just to go ahead and take a look at our 2022 numbers, we have about 1.2 million customers. We have benefits at 4.3 billion paid out. 80 million was just on living benefits, and we added 184,000 new policies, and this was all just last year in 2022. And if we were to go ahead and look at our financial numbers, we are basically about 41 billion in total assets, and premiums about 4.6 in premiums and deposits. And something that's really cool is that we have a statutory capital of 3.1 billion. So most regulators say, hey, you have to hold a certain sum of money in your reserve to be in compliance with basically Department of Insurance. And National Life Group holds 4 times the minimum requirement of what's basically required to have business policy in place. So that's something that's really cool that I want to share with everyone. If we were taking a look at some of our numbers past the decade, if you're looking at from about 2012 all the way up to our current, well, not current, but late last year, 2022, we have been growing very steadily. We've been looking at double digits growth year after year. And that's on our life and on our annuity side, continue to grow. If you're looking at how we are ranked, we are number 1 in fixed index annuity products and also number 1 in our index universal life in comparison to market share. We're number 3 for index universal life insurance sales, and we are number 11 for individual life insurance sales basically in the US. So that's some really cool numbers. And across the board, we are rated A. You're looking at A+ for AM Best, A1 for Moody's, and also A+ for Standard & Poor. Last year, we were the only insurer that got upgraded twice by basically third-party agencies that ranks financial institutions. So that's something we're very proud of. Another thing is that we are named Inc. Best in Business. We're the only life insurance company that was named in 2022. So that's something that we're proud about as well. And another thing is that if we take a look in basically life insurance carriers in the US, we have about 737 life insurance companies. Out of all that, only about 114 of them are mutual. And then out of 114, only 13 of them have terminal and chronic living benefits. And if you keep on going down, you'll see that these numbers will keep dropping down. National Life Group is the only mutual company that offers terminal, chronic, critical illness, critical injury, lifetime income rider. And we added 2 more, basically living benefit, Alzheimer rider, fertility journey rider, and that's something that I'm going to go ahead and talk into a little bit more deeply as we go on with the PowerPoint presentation. Real quick, and to get contracted with National Life, if you're not already appointed, you could do so with Crump. You could call their number or send an email to crump.com. You could go ahead and reach out to Michael, provide your information provided to me. Now go ahead and get that process expedited as well. We do participate in the Crump Life Advancing 40/60 program. You just have to go and do that through Crump's Transaction Center. So what we want to go and focus on is about our products and our market. So again, I mentioned earlier that we focus a lot on middle America. I'm not going to go into too much details on the numbers over here about the needs because I'm sure you guys are seasoned agents and you know which market you really serve in. We also do focus a lot in women and minority markets as well. If you take a look at the numbers, and another cool statistics is that about 51% of agents in National Life Group are actually women. So that's something that we're really proud of, and we're really bringing that, you know, exposure, that financial literacy, that knowledge to minorities, and to just all segments of the businesses. We're go ahead and take a look at we know the sandwich generation, we're talking about generations now, and our grandparents and then our parents. We know that there's a percentage of need that still needs fulfillment. I won't go into too much detail on some of the stats here that's used. I want to go ahead and talk about our product line sweep though. If we're taking a look at National Life Group, we offer a term, we offer a fixed universal life, we offer the whole life total secure product, and our bestseller is a Flex Life IUL and our Summit Life IUL. If you have clients who needs joint policy, you're looking at the Survivor Life, and that's basically for those who maybe are, one of them are uninsurable, one of them is insurable. You get them together on one policy. There's no living benefits until the first person passes and the second person has to qualify. This is basically for estate transfer. For those who can't look at getting insured but still want to max fund it, they could do so if they have insurable interest with somebody else to get them on there. So Flex Life IUL, this is our bread and butter product. The minimum of this product is going to be 50,000. We offer 6 different index creating strategies. They break down. The S&P has 3 different ones, and then we also have the Credit Suisse, Balanced Trend, and a US Pacesetter. And next one I want to talk about is on our Summit Life IUL, basically for our advanced market. Now the minimum on this one, you'll see it's going to be 1 million. This is really for our advanced planning sales concept. If you're looking at premium finance, if you're looking at buy sell, if you're looking at qualified plans, defined benefits, split dollars, these are what you're really looking for in terms of doing like estate transfers for businesses. These are some of the ones that you will look into for more detail. So the different index trading strategies is located over here. So we have the Pacesetter, we have the Balanced Trend, and we have the S&P. Now, I know that there's been a lot of news going on about SB Bank and then about First Republic and about Credit Suisse. Just to go ahead and clarify, because I've been getting some of these questions as well. If this affects the Credit Suisse Balanced Trend, our no cap 130% participating indexes. So no, it's just a index that they use. It's kind of just like the S&P. You know the company, the S&P themselves, but S&P's index, they track 500 of the largest U.S. companies. The S&P company itself and how the other 500 largest company in the U.S. Perform, completely irrelevant. They're not tied together. So it's just something I want to go ahead and clarify so you guys all know. Now, what breaks down the S&P is that we have 3 different strategies. We have the participating focus, so ones will give you more participation. We have the 1% floor, so it doesn't matter how bad the market performance is. We're going to guarantee that your product will at least get you 1% back year after year. And that's a 1% floor. That's really popular. And then also we have the cap focus for those who are looking at getting more potential for a cap as high as possible. That's something that we have as well. We have the fixed interest strategy as well. If you're looking at about maybe 2.4, 2.6%, it just depends. Again, National Life Group, some of the stuff that really stands out with us is one, our living benefits, our lifetime income rider, and also that we're super friendly with foreign nationals. So what qualifies as a foreign national? Basically, anyone who hasn't been in the U.S. for more than a year, and they want to go and buy U.S. life policies. Well, then there's 5 points that they have to go and meet, and they only have to meet one of the points, is that if they own like U.S. property, a business, they have at least $500,000 in U.S. bank account for a 3-month rolling period. If they're married to a U.S. citizen, and one of them have to be residing here in the U.S., and if they're a student with F1, F2 visa. So for the married couple, obviously they have to be married, U.S. citizen, it's got to be recognized, and then they're looking at basically staying here for the long term of things, because life insurance is basically priced for U.S. residents, and that's what we're mostly focused on. And this, again, we only really focus on this if your client's been here for less than a year. If they've been here for at least a year, so out of the 12 months, at least 8 months they've been in the U.S., then we no longer consider them a foreign national. So it doesn't matter if they don't have a social security number or ITIN number. They could complete a IRS form W-8 and then they could go and get insured. So that makes it really easy. I have a lot of agents who would speak with me and say, hey, My client got declined with so-and-so carrier. Is this possible? So I would inquire a little bit more on, what's going on with the client. So we don't really care what their status is. If they've been here for already X amount of time and their plan is to stay in the US, you could get life insurance basically approved with National Life. You got to make sure, though, their intention is to stay in the US and understand most part, life insurance is based on earned income. So they do have to go and showcase some income. I know maybe not all the time they could provide a W-2 or a 1099, but you could go and maybe show some bank statements. They're making deposits. They have the premiums available to go ahead and pay life insurance. So that's something you just have to go ahead and verify and check. I don't want to say that I'm going too fast, but I want to make sure I do cover a lot of topics. I know we got a little bit of a late start, and I don't know if you guys have a hard cutoff. If you guys have questions, feel free to maybe drop in the chat box, raise your hand, or go ahead and let me know. Of course, we'll go ahead and do Q&As afterwards. Next thing is really important here is on our living benefits. Again, National Life Group has one of the strongest living benefits in the industry. Our organization is actually the very first company to offer living benefits. No other insurance carrier came before National Life in terms of offering living benefits. And actually, National Life Group is also the first company to offer an IUL. But the funny thing is that with our IUL product, when it first came out, it was considered a failed product, and we had to go ahead and put it back on the shelf. Well, take it off the shelf 2 years later, because most people don't know what IULs are. They don't know what a 0% floor is. And at the time, variable products were selling really, really well. So that's what they were really focused on. It wasn't until like 2005 we reintroduced our IUL product, and then 2 other insurance carrier offered to put in IULs in the market. And then it starts selling off like hotcakes. And then it starts building later on. So if you heard a National Life Group or ever seen an illustration or gotten something like this from your client, you see that our famous puzzle piece. And that really has 3 parts that's supposed to help answer some of life's most pressing concerns, right? So what happens if I were to die too soon, if I become ill, or if I live too long? We all know the die too soon part of things is you got that death benefit protection you could go and provide to your beneficiary, your loved ones. Becoming ill, we have living benefits. And earlier I mentioned 4, and we added another one, a 5th one on Alzheimer's. And the last piece that people don't cover enough is a live too long piece. So what happens if you were to live too long? Do you have a income stream that you can't outlive? Because technology is really getting better and better. And then over time, people are living longer. But if you live longer, what's some of the trouble that come with living longer? Basically, you want to make sure you don't outlive your savings account. Is Social Security going to be Social Security income? Is that going to be guaranteed, years down the line? Or if you think about it, do you have enough savings, or do you have a pension, or do you have IRAs? Do you have rental property? Do you have income that could continue to come in and help you? Not everyone say that they can. And we want to make sure we have a rider that's available to give you an income stream for the rest of your life. And we could go ahead and talk about lifetime income benefit rider a little bit more in the later slides. So living too long, again, when you retire, you want to focus on your retirement. You want to go on vacations. You want to live maybe a great lifestyle. You don't want to go from, if maybe I eat out 2 to 3 times a week, to changing it to 1 time a week, or not eating out anymore, just having a cup of noodle basically for your meals. You don't want that. You want to make sure you retire with dignity, that you still have something for you. And you don't want to say, you don't ever want to reach out to your kids maybe and say, hey, I can't pay rent anymore, or I can't pay my property tax anymore, or the mortgage. Can I move in with you? Because you don't know what kind of hardship that they're going through. Maybe they just have their first kid, they're sending them off to college, maybe they're trying to buy their own house, or maybe they're only renting right now. So we don't want to put on any undue burden if we don't have to. So what we want to say is, hey, focus on the lifetime income benefit rider. It's a rider that really will help in the long term. It's almost like an annuity, but only on life insurance. So that's something that you could take a look into details. So here I want to go and talk a little bit deeper about our living benefits over here. And something I want to point out is that National Life Group offer living benefits to juveniles. So not all insurance carriers offer that. And I know that's important for a lot of clients who's looking at getting policies instead, for their kids, say, hey, I want to get my kids insured. I want to go ahead and make sure that they're well taken care of. We build good cash value. Now I'm putting in a lot of premiums for them to basically help guarantee their future. And you never know what's going to happen. So I would say, why not get a permanent IUL product that has a 0% floor, have great index trading strategies, and also have living benefits for the kids in case something happens. So that's something that we're really proud to have. And if you max funded policy later on, you're going to take a look at, a high income that could be guaranteed for the rest of the client's life. So real quick, I want to break down for terminal illness. Basically, what National Life Group is, if you're diagnosed by a licensed physician that you're going to pass away within 24 months, then we can go ahead and provide that payout of up to 1.5 million, depending on the policy base amount value that you have. And then for our chronic illness is basically if you can't perform 2 of the 6 activities of daily living. It's very simple. You get 2% for 50 month or 1% for 100 month. And also for cognitive impairments, basically if you have short-term, long-term memory loss, loss orientation, or deductive or abstract reasoning impairment, up to 1.5 million. The next is critical illness and critical injury. So something I highlight over here more is cancer, stroke, heart attack, because these are things that we hear more about with client that's happening, maybe to your neighbors or relatives or friends of friends. These are things that we're hearing more and more about, and we want to make sure that they're covered. We're the only company that offers critical injury. So if you're thinking about coma, paralysis, severe burns, traumatic brain injury, what kind of occupation do you think might need that? Firefighters, policemen, military personnel. These are things that can happen to them, right? And we pay out up to 1 million, and we do insure military personnel. So this is really, really cool that we offer that. We serve our nation as well, and it's something that we are proud to do. So that's something that I would go ahead and say, take a look at this. The only difference is that you have to complete like a military personnel form on our National Life webpage, and you select that they're military, and that, we want to know what they're doing, what their occupation is in there, so our underwriters could properly assess. And because we're a leading innovator in living benefits, like I mentioned earlier, we are the first company to offer living benefits to customers. We are offering the 2 new riders, the Alzheimer's disease rider and fertility journey rider. So if we were to go into detail for Alzheimer's disease rider, it's something that we offer free of charge to clients. It's a living benefits. And if we take a look at the breakdown, it's going to be a lump sum payment of 1.5 million, 30-day waiting period. Maximum age is 60. And I would take a look at where it's not approved right now, which is California, New York, and Oregon. So those are things that I would say, hey, pay attention to. We are working with Department of Insurance, but you guys know that it does take time working with government trying to get things approved. So we don't know when it's going to go through. Usually New York is one of the hardest to work with, but hopefully we'll have good news. So qualifying events, they do have to take a test. If they score less than 20 out of 30 on the mini mental state exam, then it's something that we would take a look at to see if we could go improve it or not. The only thing I will highlight over here is that if the event came from alcohol-related brain damage, toxic substance, medication abuse, or dementia with Parkinson's disease, then that's something that we won't cover. So even though we offer this, we want to make sure that it's really used for what it's supposed to be used, and that it's not customer induced. The fertility journey rider, this is something that we're proud to go ahead and offer to clients as well. And this is only on our Flex Life product, so it's only on our permanent product and only on Flex Life. And what this basically does is that for those who are having a hard time conceiving, we could go ahead and provide a 3-month minimum premium or minimum guaranteed premium as a credit to their policy. So it doesn't matter, if they're not the same sex, if, they're not legally married, if they identify themselves as, a partner, or, just, we're very loose in terms of how we categorize what could be used for this. There is a waiting period of 2 years. So you have to have the policy first, and then you have to be able to prove to us that you guys are trying basically to conceive. So that's something that we go ahead and provide to our clients free of charge. Right here is our living benefits lineup, and this is something that I'm really proud to share. because this is something we should go into a little bit more detail. So you'll see on the list here that there's many insurance carriers on the list and how we stand out as one of the strongest in terms of living benefits. So you could take a look at our terminal. We offer 24 months and basically 100% up to 1.5 million. If you take a look at some of the maybe other insurers that you see, some say, hey, it has to be within 12 months, only 90% up to 1 million, or also 90% up to 1.5. So you could take a look at in detail which one would offer a little bit more. Chronic going down is something that we provide. We say it just has to be a chronic disease. It doesn't have to be a permanent chronic. Some carriers will say it has to be permanent chronic, and that's not something we require. Critical illness, we have 13 different triggers, while many others don't have it or have less triggers. We have, you see American National here, they have 16. But if you add on our critical injury, we're the only one that's going to have it and a little bit higher. So again, if you think about critical injury, we talked about it earlier. If we're thinking about coma, paralysis, severe burn, traumatic brain injury, those are stuff that we offer. And Alzheimer's, the number of triggers is what we mentioned earlier. If they have Alzheimer's, dementia, these are something that we're going to go ahead and cover basically for our insureds. This is just the key, the legend to what we talked about earlier. And we're really here to go ahead and help focus on all aspects of your business. So we want to take a look real quickly at our advanced markets. If you take a look here, we have our advanced marketing attorneys and our specialists. If you're, again, in the business of affluent clients, business owners, if you have premium finance, buy, sell, key person, split dollar arrangements, if you're looking at all sorts of, more advanced sales concept in a life insurance case design, and then these are people you go ahead and reach out to for more details. All right, we want to make it easy to do business with National Life Group. So real quick, I want to go ahead and cover something. This is called Ascend. It is our new underwriting case management platform. We invested over $100 million in this technology. And what it does is that it gives you absolute transparency for step-by-step of where your business is at. Is it with our underwriter, case manager? Is it on APS? If there's any outstanding requirements, if there's any NIGOs, it goes through easy underwriting, which means that if your client's in relatively good health, there's nothing else going on with them, we don't have to go through exams or fluids. And in the off case that you do need APS exams ordered, National Life Group will go ahead and order them for you now. You don't have to order it yourself. We will go ahead and schedule with the client. So we want to take that undue burden off you so you get more time to do what you do best. Digital tools, we have the agent app, we have the client mobile app. Clients can go ahead and make changes to their allocations. They could take out loans. They could go ahead and update their banking information, contact information, all on the mobile app. So then you spend less time servicing just some of the basic administrative needs. Of course, with the agent mobile app, you could bring your business on the go. You can run illustrations there for your clients. If you want to take a look at, hey, what are my clients calling in for? You can see that on the client intelligence app to see, what are some of the popular questions or things that they're reaching out to National Life Group for. You can take photos of your NIGO requirements. So basically, if you have, let's say for your policy, you turn it in, they have questions about their address. They need to they say, provide us with your utility bill, or we need like a state ID, driver license. Take a photo, upload it in there. It's fine. You could go ahead and do the iGo e-app. You could do everything electronic. It doesn't have to be paper. You can order a paper contract or a PDF file contract and send a policy certificate, which is a one-pager certificate saying, hey, you're insured with National Life Group. And that's something that's really cool, really easy to have as well. All your communication will be through this platform. So you don't have to send 10, 20, 30 emails back and forth to underwriters, to case managers. And we basically save all those conversations, those information for 7 years. So you have all of that done. And another cool thing is that we've already test piloted this new Ascend platform with some of our largest agencies. And then our result that we got back is about 50% reduction in turnaround time, which means that in your applications that you submit, if on average 20 days is what it took for your application from submit to issue, you're looking at 10 days turnaround time. So this is supposed to help boost that efficiency a lot faster. And on many cases, even something recently, because I just did presentation with one of our other field leaders out in the field and say, I got an agent who called me who submitted 4 business on a Saturday, and then 3 of them were approved and issued the same day. So that's really powerful. If you think about it, it gets your clients insured faster and get you as an agent paid faster as well. So that's something that we're really proud of and something we're looking at transforming basically in the industry. So National Life is doing a lot of great things. So hopefully you'll, take a look, give us a try, and then submit a few policy and take a look at, how we could go and turn things around. If maybe you are maybe waiting a longer period of time, working with other carriers, or if there's anything that you'd like to learn more about and how our platform is going to go ahead and help your business, please, reach out, let me know, and we could go ahead and help address some of those questions. So this is our agent portal. If you see over here, we try to make it innovative. We try to make it user-friendly. You can see your businesses, that's new, that's in force. If there's anything else that's requirement that's still needed. Again, client intelligence, you could go back and forth to find out what's going on with the clients. If their birthday is coming up, if you want to go and check in with them again, you could set up notification options. And we provide a lot of social media playbook that's going to be available. This is our agent mobile app. You could go ahead and just download it on the basically on Android, on Apple products, and you could go ahead and download Foresight, our illustration software, for offline basis. So if you do go somewhere and that doesn't have internet connectivity, Wi-Fi hotspot, you could go ahead and still run quotes for your clients. Everything's basically on the go, and you could just take a look at things in more detail, offering you flexibility and for you to do business basically anywhere you go. And of course, we mentioned that we have the client mobile app. I am a policyholder with National Life Group. I have an IUL, I have a term. I max fund my IUL, and I want to make sure that I have my lifetime income benefit rider that's available for me. And then I have my living benefits in case I do need it. So I mentioned before, we have 7 years in transaction history. You can pull statements, you can make changes to your information. So you could do all sorts of stuff on your client app, and it's relatively easy. And lastly, again, we offer a lot of content that you could go ahead and share on our different platforms. You can see a little bit more in detail on our multicultural content, because we do offer a lot of information on, if it's Spanish, Mandarin Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese. We have a lot of content that's going to be available basically for you to share, for you to provide to clients. So again, these are very easy accessible if you want to go ahead and just check it out, and basically the portal. So yeah, and that's really what I want to go over. It looks like I cut in a little bit, still have some time for Q&As. And I just want to make sure to see if you guys have any questions, to please speak your mind, let me know, and we could go ahead and go from there.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, David. Okay. Thank you very much. Just in case you have any questions, please open your microphone and ask David any question specifically about National Life. David, you talk about being able to cover military personnel. Is there a category that you guys don't cover? Because you said it has to go in underwriting.
Yeah, so good question. So it really depends when it comes down to occupation on how risky it is. If you're looking at being a personal pilot, we consider that, risky. If they're a commercial pilot, then that's fine. If they're like an offshore oil rig worker, then that's something that we would have concern with. So it depends mostly on occupation and hobby. If they like to go skydiving every weekend, or they like to go, deep sea diving every weekend, scuba diving, that's something that we would be concerned about. Military personnel, again, it just depends on what they're doing, because you have a lot of them who are, they just work administrative work. Maybe they're engineers, maybe they're not like frontline or anything like that. It just depends first on what they do in there. If they have orders to deploy and such, then we would go ahead and assess and see, what we could go ahead and provide and what are their risk class, and if it's something that we could take a look at insuring.
Okay.
Excuse me. Do you consider this because somebody may not be on the front line forever? I may be on the front line today, tomorrow I may not be on the front line. So do you consider that, or is it about, do you only consider that time when I come for a policy, if I'm on the front line, or you consider that future time that tomorrow I may not be on the front line? So I don't know whether you understand my question.
Yeah, good question. So it just depends. A lot of them has to deal with time of application, right? So what are they doing at the time? We know that they may not always be out there being deployed. They have, active orders or anything like that, but it is at the time of issue, time of application, of what we really pay attention to. We have that 2-year contestability period. Make sure that all information you input is correct and true to the best of your knowledge and the client's knowledge. And so that's something we would pay attention to as well. If it's something they feel like they have to revisit, a couple years down the line, they could take a look at that as well. But we understand that. So it just depends on, again, what they're doing at that time. That's what we really pay attention to at that time of application. Yeah.
So what's for example, for foreign nationals or people who are in America, for example, and they want to retire from home? What's the policy about the long-term care and all that?
Good question. So we don't have long-term care available with National Life Group. I know some carriers offer that. We have chronic illness that's similar, but we can't legally call it that way because state insurance law dictates long-term care is long-term care. And then, it depends on how the product is set up. It should have, if it's guaranteed premium, if it's guaranteed payout. So that depends. Living benefits, again, chronic, 2 of the 6 activities of daily living that you can't perform. And then you get, up to 2% for up to 50 months. If you don't need 2%, do 1% goes up to 100 month. You do have to requalify every single year to make sure that, hey, you are still considered basically can't perform 2 of the 6. We don't require you to be permanently disabled like many carriers say you have to be permanently disabled. We just say it has to be something that you're suffering right now. So you do have to take that look at it once a year to go ahead and revisit it.
So if someone is retiring, let's say from a different country, will that living benefits still work?
So we do know that we have basically clients who purchase life insurance at the time they're here in the States, everything is great. Something happened back home, they have to return, or they decide that they have to return later on, and that's fine. It's not something we police. However, if you want to use living benefits, you have to understand that living benefits need to be diagnosed by a U.S. physician practicing in the U.S. So it has to be in one of the 50 U.S. states and not a territory. And I've heard people say, what if it's a U.S. physician, but they're, at the consulate, at the embassy or something like that over there? Can we do that? No, we cannot. Very creative, but that's not something we take a look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone with a question, please unmute and ask. I see Yahya, you unmuted. I don't know that because you have a question. Oh, you muted. Okay. How about the money that National Life gives out? Do you guys give out when someone dies, for example? I understand that most of the insurance it's a process to give out a death benefit. Now, do you have something like concierge plan, like they want to maybe a percentage of it coming to the family and then take care of the funeral rites and all that before the death benefit is paid out?
So that depends on how they want to go and set up. So we have like a death benefit distribution where maybe it comes out like, maybe 25% for 4 years, or if they want to spread it out longer. And if they're really looking at implementing something on, how the funds are going to be paid out first, then they're probably looking at closer at setting up a trust and let that trust dictate how it's going to be paid out first. Otherwise, it's just whatever it's in there for a beneficiary. If it's 100%, and just go straight to them. If it's split, then it's split. It just depends on, what the beneficiaries want to go ahead and do with the funds. So it's not necessarily something that you set up here on our side. It's something that you maybe will work with an attorney to set up in more detail. And then you could go ahead and just put that trust as a, beneficiary. So later that trustee can go and take a look at it.
So how long does it take for national health to pay out? Do you know?
So I believe on average we pay out within just a few weeks. If it's like within 2 or so is what we typically look at, because you understand that this is an undue burden on us too. We run social security checks every single week, make sure that, hey, if the person that's on our database is still alive or not. If it's not, we have to do our due diligence and make sure that we're really looking for them and trying to get it paid out to their beneficiaries. So oftentimes when we say, put as much information as you can on the beneficiary, add a contingent beneficiary if you can. If they're, offshore, they're not here in the area, make sure you have all their contact information so we could reach out to them and get that payout out there. If it's a check, if it's a wire or anything like that, but we do active searches to make sure that we get it paid out. Otherwise, when we get audited by the Department of Insurance, they would say, hey, this person's been gone for a while. How come you've been holding this for the past 6 months, a year? What's going on? What have you been doing? Then we would really get punished. And if it's, how it goes with Department of Insurance, once one state finds something that's wrong, they have friends. They have maybe close by states they work with. If they say, hey, Massachusetts found out that something's going on with National Life, then later on, they got findings. They talk to their friend. You have Connecticut, Rhode Island knocking on our door, say, hey, we want to audit your books, So it's going to be something like that too. We want to make sure that's never the case.
Okay. Yes, Lydia, I can see your hand is up.
Yes, I just want to thank you, but I also wanted to have clarity, because I think I didn't hear very well when you're talking about somebody owning insurance when they don't have a social security, but they have a proof of income or bank statement. So I just wanted some clarity. Is it that somebody who does not have a social security but have proof of income and can show some bank statements can have a policy with you?
Yeah, thanks for your
Is that
question.
the case?
Right. So typically we would say those who haven't been in the US for at least 1 year need to prove that they have a connection or nexus to the US. And I went over the 4 national guidelines earlier of what they need to have with us. Let me see if I could go back to it real quick. That took a while. So yeah, these are some of the connections and nexus that they would need to have. But if they've been in the U.S. for over a year already, they're working, they're getting paid. If it's 1099 or a W-2, sometimes it's under the table. While we don't, say we are actively looking for policies or insureds like that, it is still possible to get insured, depending on a lot of factors. If their intentions to stay in the U.S., they're basically actively working because premiums have to come from an income source. And then we could take a look at trying to get them insured. If you don't have a social, you don't have an I-10, you don't have a tax ID, and then you have to fill out a IRS W-8 BEN form. And then basically showcase that you have a valid government ID, that you're a real person, because we don't want to be insuring non-real entities, people who you say, hey, this is somebody, but you don't have anything to prove that because you don't have pay stubs and you can't provide a government ID, then that's really hard to prove that this is a real person.
Thank you.
I have a question. First of all, thank you, David. I appreciate doing this. Do you guys offer concierge services?
So what do you mean by concierge services? Tell me a little bit more.
Well, so basically you guys, when the time of the payout for the death benefit, you pay directly to the funeral homes, or you get together the things that the policyholder, or rather the insured, wanted to do, and you guys would pay it directly to whatever it was that they needed to, versus giving it to the hands of the beneficiary.
So
I mean, the beneficiary still gets money, but you know what I'm saying? You take care of like the arrangements, the money goes directly to them versus them having to get the money and then paying.
So it just depends on how it's set up. Just for the beneficiaries, if it's 50% to this funeral home, it's just basically, it has to do with It typically has to be like an insurable interest at policy issue. We know people make changes after policy issue to what they want, but we pay out whatever is on the contract to it. And later, if they have made any other personal arrangements, that's really up to them what they want to go ahead and do. We just pay out what the owner signed off on, and it just goes straight to them if it's a check, if it's a wire, and then it's not anything in addition to what it sounds like you're saying. I'm just saying that we pay out to what's per the policy contract.
Gotcha. Because we use and forgive me, but we use like Everest has what's called same thing, concierge services. You still, the beneficiary still gets the money, but what happens is, let's say the funeral home wants $2,000, you guys will cut the check directly. But that's okay. I think you answered the question anyway. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Gaston.
You're welcome.
All right. Anyone else with a question?
Yes, yes, I'm here, please. I would like to thank you so much for this wonderful training, David. So my question is, so like if someone has a life insurance policy, but their beneficiaries are outside US, let's say in Uganda, and then the insured passes on, how can the beneficiaries who are back in Uganda claim for the death benefits?
Yep.
Thank you.
They can. So it just depends on the beneficiary. Like I was telling Michael earlier, if you provide all the information on there for beneficiary, if it's, their name, their number, their email, everything that's on there, we will do our best diligence to reach out to this individual, and it will still have it paid out. So you're going to have people say, my beneficiaries is, across the board. It's in a different country. Something happens to me. I want to make sure this reaches them. Provide the detailed information. Just like in America, you have social security numbers. If they have a identifying number in whatever country they're in, provide that information as well. So when we run it across the registry, we want to make sure that it's somebody that we could do our due diligence of, making sure it gets to the right people.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lily.
All right. Anyone else with a question? Anyone else?
Yeah, I don't know whether I was not attentive when David was taking us through IUL, but my question is, what is the minimum premium that one would pay for IUL?
Can you run an illustration?
Yeah, did you want me to run an illustration to see how some of that numbers look like?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look. Let me pull something out real quick. I'm gonna pull out change this, minimize. Got a small screen to work with, so I'm gonna do my best.
We are still seeing the.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that pulled up ready. I just haven't been able to.
All right.
Sure, this. Let me expand that. Just this is so in the way for me to hard open up a new one. So we'll go ahead and log in, register. I am an employee, so I'm going to go ahead and log in through our employee portal. I'm going to run our illustration design, and I'm going to choose the Flex Life IUL. And let's see, new illustrations, Flex Life. Go ahead and choose Massachusetts. Okay, so what are some of the numbers we want to take a look at?
Maybe 33.
33, male 33,
Mhm,
standard non-tobacco.
mhm.
Okay, and in death benefit and funding, are we just mostly focused on cash accumulation growth?
Mhm.
All right, so we'll go ahead and focus on the minimum death benefit, maximum cash value. And we're gonna assume we're paying monthly.
Mhm.
What's the budget for the client?
Let's say 500.
500?
Mhm.
Okay, let me go ahead and specify amount. And go ahead and choose 500. How long can the client 33-year-old pay for?
Up to age 60. 67.
Age 67. Okay, and we'll take lifetime income at 68.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll go and make that design over here. So let's take a look at quick view. So real quick, top left, male age 33, standard non-tobacco. We're looking at paying a monthly premium of $500 a month. Initial face amount at 424,000. That's 6,000 a year. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at going a little bit down here. And year 36, age 68, we're looking at a lifetime income of at about 42,000 a year. Their death benefit, it's about 709 before they start taking that income stream. And this lifetime income is basically guaranteed for the rest of your client's life at that amount. You'll see we run our illustrations all the way to age 120, and no matter what, the death benefit won't drop under 15,000. Cash value will never drop under 1,000. This is a guaranteed rider that we provide basically for our clients. And to use lifetime income benefit rider, policy has to be enforced for at least a minimum of 10 years. They have to be between age 60 to 85. There must not be any outstanding loans. If there's any loans that they took out previously, they have to go ahead, pay that back. If let's say I got an example earlier today that they're taking a look at maybe at income year, they have to take more than 42,000. They have to take, let's say, double that, about 80,000. You could go ahead and take it out as a withdrawal. So just take it out as a withdrawal, not a loan. And then they could take a look at taking lifetime income afterwards. But obviously that lifetime income is going to be lower than the 42,000 because they're taking 80,000 as a hard withdrawal. And the only thing I would say is that to make sure that whatever amount you're taking out, if it's over the principal, then you have to, anything above the principal is taxable as ordinary income tax. So that's something I would pay attention to.
Okay.
Yeah, so right here, we could take a look here if we're looking at maybe on year 35. On the left side, we'll see that they put in 210,000 in cumulative premium and their cash value at the time is 600. So what's that? 3 times? Yeah, so their cash value basically 3 times at that point. And we run our numbers relatively conservative. If you go to our interest rate section, you'll see that we defaulted to our US pay setter. It's at 5.92%. You're going to have carriers maybe showing, 6, 7%, 8% even. And we have a fixed bonus 0.85 for this strategy, basically on a 6th policy year as a thank you for being our policy holder for so long. And it depends on a different kind of strategy you choose. Their fixed bonus, it's going to basically be a little lower or about the same. It just depends. We know the S&P is a brand company, so you know how brands work. They have brand recognition, so they get to charge more. Newer index trading strategies, company could go ahead and offer something that's a little bit more appetizing for clients. So again, we take a look at the numbers, how it could grow over time. And then you're probably looking at about that. Of course, the earlier you start, the better. And many times we have agents who have questions about, how that's going to look like down the line. So before we even get to that, I'm going to go ahead and share another screen with you. If we were to go ahead and run like an illustration report of how that's going to look like. So let me share a screen with you. You should see right here our FlexLife IUL and our 3 puzzle pieces over there. What they're going to originally start off with paying, if they die tomorrow, if they need cash value at X amount of years, what they're going to be looking at. And if they need living benefit, what are the living benefit amount that they're looking at as well. If we take a look at lower, if we want see in more detail about living benefits, it's really going to be over here about page 7 or 8. Right here, page 8. You can see male 33, Massachusetts, face amount 424. You can see the terminal amount, the chronic, Alzheimer's, critical illness, critical injury, what they could go ahead and possibly take out at basically a certain age. This number varies wildly based on gender, age, rate class, how much premium they're paying, how long they've had their policy for. And then if they were to get diagnosed with a critical illness or injury, it depends on the level of how bad it is. So there's minor, there's moderate, there's severe, there's life-threatening, and we also take into account how well they are responding to treatment. If they're responding really well, then obviously that's not going to be considered too too life threatening. If they're not responding very well, then the living benefit amount payout could be very different. All right. And real quick, because I know that we also talked about the index trading strategies, I want to make sure we go down a little bit more to go ahead and show you guys some of the hypothetical returns. By strategy, we saw US Pacesetter and the Credit Suisse and the S&P. Over here, we're going to be taking a look at maybe the 5 to 20 years average of what we're seeing. So the darker one is a raw index, and these are over here what could be credited to the policies depending on the strategy that you've chosen for the client. So again, if we go on top right here, US Pacesetter, 20-year average, 8.9. Credit Suisse, we're looking at 6.8. And then the other S&Ps, depending on what you're focused on, if it's a cap, participation, or 1% floor, 6, 4, 4, really close to 5. So it just depends on what the client is more comfortable. I would say mix and match. So you maybe have 25% and like 4 of them, or you could take a look at 20%. So you have almost all of them. To have that, you're going to have very conservative clients who say, I can't stomach not seeing a return every single month, even if it may be small. Choose the S&P 1% floor. You will at least get a 1% back, no matter how bad index strategies in the market is doing. You're still going to get a little bit of that. So this is what I want to show you guys overall. And yeah, thank you for the question. Let's see if there's any more.
So you say the flow is 1%? So
if you choose the S&P 500 1% floor, then no matter how bad it does, you're going to see at least 1%. Take a look at over here. Let's say in 2015, right? Right here. You're going to see that if it's an index strategy is not doing well, US Pacesetter is 0.45, Credit Suisse is 0. And then if you're looking at the cap focus is 0, the participation focus is 0. And right here at the very end, you still get a 1% floor, because no matter how bad the index strategies are doing, we're going to guarantee for this column that 1% floor, no matter what.
Oh, and the cap is 6.75 for that.
Right. So you're going to be sacrificing the cap to make sure you still have a guarantee 1.
Okay. And then what is the higher cap and what would be the floor?
So you'll see over here, the higher cap's at 9.25. The floor is still going to be 0%. And over here, if you're looking at participation, we would get 40% more participation. This doesn't highlight very well. 6.5 is going to be the cap. 140% is the participation. You'll still see 0 years, but then if you're just taking a look, it's a long-term game, right? So it just depends how much time horizon your client have. So you could go and see what the potential it could potentially earn.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Any other question? Oh,
well, thank you, David, for that very good illustration. It's good you gave us, Michael gave us a good figure, but I get back to my question. David, what is the minimum that one would use, every month? Like the minimum, the bare minimum that one can
you can't tell them.
Have as a premium for IEO.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
So let's go and take a quick look, right? So it just really varies and it depends, because it could be, let's say for this design, right, for 424,000 for male 33. Over here, you can see that the minimum premium that we're going to require to keep the policy in force is at basically 1.3. We're looking at paying guideline level right now, so we're basically almost max funding it. If it's targets, not the highest, not the lowest, is somewhere a little in between. This is with another rider that we have in there, make sure there's no lapse. And the very bare minimum is just this is what you're going to be looking at for this design. So every policy will have their own. It's going to be different based on age, gender, rate class. It's going to have a lot of actuarial factors that comes into it. So it depends. Everyone's going to be different. And if you just fund the minimum, there's not going to be any amount that's going to be going into the index rate strategy of your choice. It's not going to help fund the policy very well. And you're probably most likely going to be looking at a lapse later on.
I think he might be asking, what's the minimum face amount that you guys
for this product?
Yeah,
50,000.
50,000. All right. Okay, any other question? Did he answer your question?
Oh, well, I think you got distorted when he was trying to answer the last words. I didn't hear them. You don't want you ask him.
What I asked?
Yes, I didn't hear his answer.
Yeah, he said 50,000 is the least face value that they can give.
50 what?
50,000. So you know the premium depends on your face value.
Okay. Thank you.
So the least face value that they can give is 50,000.
Is 50,000.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other question? Gaston, you have a question? Any questions from Law? All right, if you guys don't have any questions, David, do you mind giving out your number just in case someone has a question?
Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll drop it in chat box.
Yes. Turn this off so we can email. All right, so David has shared his number and email just in case you want to reach out to to understand more or you have any questions. You already know that to get appointed, you go through CRAM. On my WFG, then through CRAM, and you get appointed by National Life. You don't have to have a policy to get appointed, right?
You don't.
Yeah. All right. If there is no more questions, then I guess we shall close this meeting.
All right, great. Thank you, everyone.
Rachel, do you have a question?
Thank you, David.
Rachel, I can't hear you. Rachel. Okay. Thank you, David, and thank you everyone for being here. Just in case you want any more questions from David, he has shared his number.
Yeah, feel free to give me a call, leave me a voicemail, text, or best way is to send me an email. I'm always on the run. On Friday, I was in San Jose. I'm located in Los Angeles. And in 2 days, Wednesday, I'll be flying to New York. So best way to get in contact with me is email, but please let me know if you guys have any questions or needs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.